Hey, Kevin here from DIYDork.com. Today I want to show you how I did a makeover on this little cheap Salvation Army table I picked up using some pallet wood and a mirror. So check this out, this is pretty cool. Alright, so here is the table and the extra parts I'm going to use to do this project. So I picked up this table at Salvation Army for 15 bucks. It has a laminate top, which I can mess with here in a little bit. The base is real wood, or at least the legs are. I think this is partially real wood. And of course it's not my style at all, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to flip this. So my plan is to sand and paint the bottom white, just keep it simple. White seems to be a real good color for resale. And then the top here, I was just going to repaint, the whole thing and just sell it. But when I got home, I had this mirror sitting in my workroom, and my wife sat it on top of there, and we were like, wait a minute, that actually works perfect. That'd be really cool to cover this top with the mirror. Now you can see that it's not quite wide enough to cover the entire top, so what I'm going to do is attempt to build some trim to trim it out with this, and then that way I can just cover up that old laminate top and the edge of the mirror with these old cut down 2x4s. Now these actually used to be the trim that went around our windows whenever we first bought the house, and we replaced the windows and all the trim and all that kind of stuff. So I had a bunch of these left over, so I think they'll look pretty good. I'll sand a lot of that dirty white paint off of there and leave it kind of distressed, and the bottom be a real crisp white paint job, and then we'll have the mirror, and I think it'll look pretty good. So first things first, I need to sand it down and really grind down that top so that glue will stick for the mirror and for the wood trim. So I'll start doing that next. Alright, so my bottom is now painted and dry and ready to go, so I can start messing with the top. So the very first thing I want to do is actually take the mirror out of this frame. It has a little bit of a backing on it. And real quick, I don't think I explained what this is. It's just one of those cheap door mirrors. You can get it at just about any store. I think I paid about $6 at Walmart for mine. But anyway, what I need to do is go ahead and cut this out and see if I can figure out how to pop that mirror out of there. Alright, so I got the mirror free from the frame, and when I was pulling it off, it had a bunch of glue right here on the edge, so I just took my knife and just really carefully sliced it off, and you can see I got it pretty good here, so a nice flat back on it. The only problem I had is I actually broke one of the corners of the mirror, but it'll actually be okay. I'll show you how I can take care of that. Alright, so real quick, I measured my mirror, which happens to be 12 inches wide, and my tabletop is 17.5 inches wide, so I figured out the difference, and I'll have a 2 3/4 inch border all the way around. So I went ahead and drew some lines to help line it up. 2 3/4 over there, same thing over there. You get over here to this edge, you can see where I broke, and if you look, that is not much at all right there. I think I can actually cover that up with my wood that's going to go on here. But now I have another problem. I don't think those little 2x4s I had are going to work, so let me show you what I'm thinking about using instead. Alright, so like I said, my original plan of using these 2x4s as a solid piece of trim just isn't going to work. I wanted to overlap the mirror a little bit, maybe a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch here. So it's going to be step notched over that, lay flat, and then be step notched again to fit over the side. But as you can see, since these were cut down to fit our windows, that it's barely wide enough to fill that 2 3/4 inch gap between the mirror and the edge anyway. So these aren't going to work, so I'll use something else. So instead, what I'm going to use is pallet wood. I have a bunch of these down in my basement as well. They're 3.5 inches wide. So you can see there's plenty of room to overlap the mirror. Plus my edges on these are a little rough, so I have enough room to run it down the table saw and clean up these edges and still be able to overlap. So I'll just have to step notch just one time just to fit over the mirror. And then this edge over here is just going to lay flat to the table. And then to finish off the sides, I'm just use these slats that I have. I made a whole bunch of these a long time ago, a year or two ago. I have a whole bucket full of them, and it's just a 2x4 that I ran down a table saw and till I got about a 1/4 inch thick. I think they're a little less than that, but they work out real nice. And then those will just cover up the edge like this, so it should look pretty good. The pallet wood, I'm just going to sand it smooth and then just clear it as is. These little slats, I don't know if I'll leave them raw with a clear coat but no stain, or if I might paint them. This one right here is actually painted gold. It's kind of hard to tell, but it was painted gold, so I'll try to sand that off. If it doesn't come off, I might go ahead and paint these kind of an aluminum gray color and then lightly sand them to get a little bit of a distressed look. Just add a little interest to the table, and it should look pretty good. And so anyway, I'll start doing that next. I will get these cut down, get them custom fitted. Once everything works, then I can start working on chopping the mirror down and gluing it and getting everything attached. So it should look pretty cool, so let me get started on it. All right, check that out. I got the wood all sanded smooth, the edges rounded over. It looks pretty good, and it fits real nice too. So what I'll do next is go ahead and cut that mirror down, which should be real simple. Then glue it down, nail these down, and then finish off the trim, and this thing will be ready to go. Well, as you just saw, just my luck, I broke the mirror right here on the edge, but that's okay because I made sure that this overlap was enough that it covers it up, so no big deal. So now it's gonna look real nice when it's all covered up like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this mirror down, and then I will glue and nail all these down, and then all I gotta do is that perimeter trim, and this thing will be ready to go. And check it out, there it is all finished. Turned out really cool. Got a nice combo of styles here, sort of a shabby chic or a French look on the bottom with a little scroll work and the bright white, little spindly legs. And then we have the rustic modern top with the clean lines and the combination of the sanded pallet wood and then that silver painted trim. I think it's pretty cool. And I didn't exactly know what I was going to do with this table when I first bought it, but adding that mirror and all the wood trim really made it pop. This thing looks pretty awesome. And like I showed you before, I don't remember which side I slightly busted when I was cutting the mirror glass, but you can't tell because it was covered up, so it looks real nice now. And if you ever use these little $5, $6 mirrors on a project, just beware, they're really thin, so they're kind of easy to crack. So I actually have a video that shows how to cut glass if you've never done that before using that little tool I showed earlier. And it works on this, but like I said, it's pretty thin, so it could be a little easy to crack. So you just gotta be careful with that. But anyway, it turned out pretty cool. It looks awesome, and I think it's gonna sell really well. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate that. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. That really helps get it out in front of other people that might like to check it out too. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that to keep up with more videos. And if you want to see some other projects I have some here on the screen and down in the description below as well.